Yeah, now it's the final presentation of this today's workshop. So I will talk about a pilot study, SafeDust ReLIB, pre-study of dust explosion in battery recycling. So this is a work done by Rice, Chalmers, and with partner from Stena Recycling, and funded by the Swedish Energy Agency. So first, I want to thank our industrial partners, Stena Recycling, Northvolt, my colleagues at Rice, for performing the chemical analysis and also dust explosion experiments, and our academic partner supporting with the cutting-edge knowledge in combustion field, and our great reference group members will keep on supporting with different expertise. A big thank to all of you. I'm going to answer 3 questions in this presentation. What is a dust explosion? Then, do dust explosions really exist? Third one is, are there dust explosion risks in battery recycling? And first, sorry for the slide in Swedish, and this is a classic fire triangle. So to start a fire, you need fuel, oxygen, and ignition source. However, to start the dust explosion, you need 2 extra elements. They are the enclosure and the mixing. So that means dust explosion the frequency is much less compared to fires. However, it is also a challenge that is not very well known to the common people and to the workers in the process plants, and also a big challenge in the scientific community. This slide, I'm going to show a movie. This is a demonstration performed several years ago at Rice Fire Lab. And here we use the material of the coffee creamer from a coffee machine, several tablespoons. And this video will be divided into 4 parts. Part 1 is to form a dust cloud. Part 2 is to form a dust flame. And part 3 is to include some containment. Part 4 is a tightened containment, where you will see the pressure buildup and very strong explosions. I will play this video. Then, after we know how the dust explosion process looks like, then I'm going to discuss the question: do dust explosion really exist? So here are some pictures from some incident investigations. For instance, the first picture is the sugar dust explosion at the Imperial Sugar Company, 2008. And this incident happened during the confined conveyor, and the sugar dust formed a first dust explosion, and then many dust in other parts of the process plants was lifted and generating stronger secondary explosions, and the plant was nailed to ground after the incident and followed by the fire. And the second picture is from a metal recycling company. I will explain this later in more detail. And the third one is a catastrophic aluminum alloy dust explosion in China, and it's in the automotive industry that they are polishing the wheel using the aluminum. So this cost 146 lives. And here is also some incident statistic from the Swedish Work Environment Authority, where it's between 2012 and 2017. So we had 237 incidents reported to the authority. And our experts have estimated that the real incidence frequency can be more often, 3 times more often compared to the statistic, because of the underreporting. Some of the smaller incidents were not reported, and some of the incidents were classified as fires instead of explosions. And actually, last November, there was one person died during the in north of Sweden battery factory, and due to the aluminum dust explosions. So here is the incident for the metal recycling industry, and in this company they recycled the titanium zirconium scrap and produce this titanium and zirconium compacts. And this incident was investigated by the CSB. It's the U.S. Chemical Safety and Hazard Investigation Board, and they publish investigation reports and also easy to understand the YouTube video. I'm going to show another incident that happened at a Chinese battery recycling plant. It was happened 2021. And this is one of the old recycling plants where they have a capacity of 15,000 tons of end-of-life battery per year. And they produce their battery precursors for their cell manufacturing. And this was happened, it was unclear if this incident was directly related to the combustible dust. But according to the recycling company, the explosion was caused by waste aluminum foil caught fire in the garbage dump. So the blast generated a mushroom cloud in the sky that could be seen from several kilometers away. So the incident led to 1 fatality and 20 injuries. I'm going to play this video clip. To the final question of this presentation, are there dust explosion risks in battery recycling? And we got some material, black mass material, supplied from our industrial partners. And here is a sample of black mass from the NMC chemistry. And they are named as ABCD material. And one of the material, according to our supplier, higher content of organics, and B, lower content of organics, and C, higher content of graphite, D, no comments. So the black mass is grinded end-of-life batteries containing the cathode material, normally the metal oxide, and the anode material, normally the graphite. And this material is further used for the hydro or pyrometallurgical extractions. So this is the first time we work with this new material with potential cancer genetic risks. So we protected ourselves with care. So our technician is wearing the disposable overall and also the whole mask, and we had also the portable gas detectors for the hydrogen fluoride, which is a very toxic and corrosive gas which can penetrate your skin and to the bones. And also we have some gels for in case of the hydrogen fluoride exposure, and we isolate our labs to reduce the risk of unprotected workers. And after the first experiments, it was the gas detector didn't ring and we felt quite comfortable with working with this material, and we didn't wear the disposable overall, but we had always whole mask or half mask with different types of filters to protect ourselves. And before we do the experiments, we first did some microscope images that we see some brown and silver larger particles in the samples, and probably they are the current collector copper or aluminum foils remained in the black mass. And one of the sample, we can see obvious agglomeration where smaller particles coming together and forming the bigger particles. And with one of the material, we sieved to smaller, we take away the bigger particles, and we didn't see those brown and silver particles there. And then we did some particle size analysis and using the sieving method, and we have also calculated some parameters of the particle size, like the Salter D32 is the Salter mean diameter, is the volume to surface, the diameter corresponding to the volume to surface ratio. And it's just one of the sample B has lower number and the rest of the samples very similar. And also the one of the sample has lower value of this sigma D, which means it has more homogeneous particles compared to rest of the samples. And also one of the sample A has higher content of water. And also we analyzed the organic carbonates, which is the main composition of the electrolyte in the batteries. And yeah, some of the carbonates has higher boiling point, which cannot be completely evaporated during the production of the black mass. For example, the sample A has some content of the ethylene carbonate, as well as sample D, and the B has very little, and the C not detected. And because of these organic carbonates, they are very flammable and will increase the risk of the fires and explosion. So it's important to understand the content in the black mass. And then finally, we did some explosion tests in our small-scale 20 liters vessel. And here on this figure, you will show the dust concentration in the x-axis, and the y-axis is the maximum explosion pressure. As you see that using a 10 kilojoule igniter, and this is the value recommended by the standard test, we didn't get high explosion pressure. However, when we increase the ignition energy to 20 kilojoule, we get for a certain concentration, we get around 6 bar ignition over pressure, which is considerable explosion risk. And if we increase the ignition energy furthermore, the explosion overpressure is not further increased. And then we also compare different materials, and two of the materials has lower Pmax, and two of the materials has higher Pmax, the maximum explosion overpressure. And we also compare different materials, because the black mass is not the only material that is handled during the recycling of battery process. We have also graphite and, for example, aluminum. And here we compare the maximum explosion pressure versus different black mass materials and graphite and aluminum. And this dark blue circle shows the results of the Pmax using 10 kilojoule igniter, and this light blue circles shows the results of the 20 kilojoule, and the pink ones are the 30 kilojoule. So we see that the black mass has the lowest Pmax, and followed by the graphite and the aluminum highest maximum explosion over pressure. And those two materials, they are the average values of for example, 35 graphite dust and 107 aluminum dust in the literature. And then on the right-hand side, we have the KST versus different materials, and KST is the derivative of the maximum pressure, the pressure curve, derivative of the pressure curve, the maximum value. So it basically reflects the violence level of the burning process. So again, the aluminum has the highest KST, most violent explosions, and followed by the graphite, and the lowest is the black mass. So here is the logarithm scale. So aluminum has very high values in those comparisons. And then it's the conclusions that we explained, understand what is a dust explosion process, and it requires a few oxygen ignition source, and also mixing and confinement. And combustible dust is a constant threat to a wide spectrum of industries dealing with organic materials and metals, including the pellets, food, pharmaceutical, battery manufacturing, and recycling. Black mass tested in this work has relatively low dust explosion risk, but one of the sample at a concentration of 300 grams per cubic meter generates an explosion over pressure above 6 bar with an ignition energy 20 kilojoule. And such ignition energy occurs with low probability during the electrostatic discharge, but may occur during hot works like fire, battery thermal runaway, gas explosions, and which may lift the black mass dust in the plants and result in secondary explosions. And the future work is to better understand the battery recycling material, the composition, the impurities like the organics and the aluminum, copper, plastic. And also another interesting topic is about the production scrap, because many experts believe that the production scrap will be one of the major source of the recycling plants in the very near future. And also some fundamental parameters like the laminar burning velocity of the dust cloud is needed to do better modeling and to improve the standards, and transfer the knowledge from lab experiments to the full industrial scale problems is also a challenge. And we need also improve the dust explosions characteristic database, and we need a more open, transparent incident database like those ones in the CSB. And last, maybe equally important or even more important, is to understand the root causes instead of blaming human errors, education, telling stories, and to avoid the similar accidents happen again. So this is my final slide. Thank you for your attention, and I want to make an advertisement for the next workshop, including 4 speakers, and next Wednesday. So you are welcome to join, but that's in Swedish. So okay, so